Okay, it works. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. I didn't put a title on today's live stream outside of just hangout because I didn't really look at any new gear. And as a matter of fact, if I did this to you, I apologize. Although the chances of me doing this was fairly rare, because I mostly went through my Instagram feed and I just axed companies left and right, even ones I like, just so I don't see so much of the marketing side of things. I left people and stuff like that. Maybe one or two companies. I kept Divisor because I love Divisor in Japan, and they don't post all the time. And one or two other Japanese companies, but outside of that, like, I'm changing my feed entirely to like art I like and actual performances of music, not just clips from other people that do YouTube demoing gear in collaboration with brands. I'm gonna try and do Instagram a little bit different when I open it up. So if I unfollowed you, I'm just saying I'm sorry. I was just last night I decided I was gonna do it, and I was like, you know what? And I just went pop, 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 and kept going. So that was fun. Anyways, let's see how everyone is doing today on that awkward start. I just wanted to get that straight out of the way. All orange rig in the thumbnail. You like it? That is an older pick. I like that rig a lot. And there's a reason why I posted it, because we're gonna talk about some actual music today, and I was listening to a few bands that made me really miss that particular setup, because I thought it just sounded awesome. We can analyze the baseboard molding to at least determine whether it's the old house, 100%, 100%. Hey Greg, how's it going? Hey Dad. And hey Cyril, you're practicing pentatonic double stops while I'm listening. Good, you should always be practicing. Double stops are fun. Another thing that's fun with double stops is kind of like funk, like Corey Wong style picking. So you're doing a traditional double stop, but you're adding in more syncopation to the right hand with it, and at speed. That helps out a lot. There's actually concepting a lesson video around that. It's a lot of fun. That style of music. The only reason I was talking to my wife about this, I said I wanted to make more kind of guitar related stuff, like actually playing the guitar related stuff for YouTube when I have the free time to do it, because I feel like it's more useful. And we were laughing because we were talking about old bands that we used to listen to that like did not age well. Like, we go back and we listen to them now. First of all, if you have a band that you used to like when you were younger, and you've gone back to listen to them after not listening to them for a while, have you ever had that same experience? And let me know who it was in the comments, because I'm going to tell you mine right now. My wife and I were talking about this, and she's just like, I can't listen to like half the bands I used to. And she's 4 years younger than me. She kind of was like at the beginning of the emo phase before it like got really out of hand. So she heard like some of the original bands that were into that stuff, and she's just like, yeah, it's just so whiny. It just doesn't hold up. And I got to thinking, when I was learning to play guitar and I was teaching myself, coming from being a drummer, a lot of the music I listened to was like old Warped Tour stuff, If you ever went to the Warped Tour in the 90s, it has changed dramatically in even like a 10-year span, from like the late 90s to late 2000s. And it was a lot of, the ska was still a thing then, like third wave ska. Bands like Save Ferris, Less Than Jake, the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, Real Big Fish, Limp, not Limp Bizkit, Limp, just stuff like that, right? And one of the bands I really liked, because I thought the drummer was awesome, which is what really got me into them to begin with. It was happy sounding, and then learning the guitar, it just came like second nature to me, because it reminded me so much of playing a hi-hat, which is the syncopation of the hand, right? And it was Real Big Fish. And we were listening to Real Big Fish, and man, the music holds up really well. That guy was so unhappy, and like clearly I had to have known that at the time. But you have this, like, if you've never heard the band before, it's this super beachy like horn section going on, a lot of like kind of reggae mixed into it. Like it's got really great vibes until you listen to what the guy is saying. And it is brutal. It is absolutely brutal. But so much of my playing and my ability to do the sort of picking and the hand techniques that I use comes from learning all of that stuff and learning it without anybody teaching me how to do it. I just kind of figured it out. So I just thought that was really funny because it was like two things at the same time that came up that were actually related to music. Hi, Martian. Hi, Steve. Steve, I haven't seen you in a while. Corey Wong style. Yeah. Hold on. So I know in like, I'm not plugged in, but like, little things like that where you're only playing doubles here. Like stuff like that. Corey does that a lot. And so much of that comes down to what I was just referencing with the right hand. And I'm kind of struggling a little bit to play it the way I normally would because I'm holding the guitar very strangely. I don't know anybody that practices like this. Even classical guitarists is a little bit uncomfortable. But yeah, just you get your motor going on this hand. And then you just double stop up and down. And you could do it with pentatonics if you wanted to. But the key is to get it back into like what you were talking about, the double stop practices. If you do it quick and you start lower and then go up to higher notes, you can implement the same sorts of strategies and the same sorts of learning techniques into it. And then when you want to break out even more into that, you go into the appropriate scale degree that you want to play in. So instead of just like the minor pentatonic, you can mix it up and go from there and have a lot of fun just adding in like third notes, like stuff like that. Like this isn't in the minor pentatonic. That note's not in the minor pentatonic, which would be a G. But yeah, that's basically the point of what I was saying. But when you can do stuff like that and throw it into your practice regime, it's really useful. It's extremely useful. And you don't need to go fast. You just need to make sure you're in time. That's all I was trying to say. Hi, Markleford. How are you? Rex, you pulled out the J200 in the Godin for rehearsals. That's good. You guys got some big shows coming up? Sounds like fun. Has the channel ever done a Player 2 Jaguar? Nope, never. Not interested. It's as easy as that. And going forward, look, I'm just gonna be very frank with you guys. Okay. I'm not gonna review gear unless I really want it, or unless I'm gonna get paid to do it. Because I don't want to spoil a video. Because and this is really ironic, right? I filmed this video in any other time. I would have posted this video the next day. It was done on Tuesday. It would have gotten, no, it was done on Monday. It would have got posted on Tuesday. But because it actually is a pretty decent reason, it's something that's going to benefit you guys. I'm waiting for approval on it. And I just don't want to be beholden to things anymore. And within that video, I basically said, like, yeah, I'm still going to do gear reviews, but I want to do more of what I just did, except in a more professional kind of environment or presentation, rather, where I'm explaining things on guitar and things of that nature, or just playing or breaking down other riffs and stuff like that. So if I really don't have an interest in a piece of gear like the Player 2 Jaguar, like I just, if people like it, congratulations. I'm not going to say I think it's, the worst guitar ever made and that people shouldn't buy it. But for me, I don't like it. Why would I spend my money on something I don't like? That's kind of the mistake that so many people that do YouTube end up doing. And there have been times I've bought in gear that I didn't want just to make the stupid video because I knew it would get views. And that's no way to live. That's a shitty way to live. And I've played enough guitars. I know what I like. And you guys would know 100% if I was ever lying. I'm very bad at it. I would slip in somewhere that I thought something was crappy if I thought it was crappy. And I play the sir. He famously ranted about the Jaguar not having a rhythm circuit. Well, I mean, my problem with it was not that it didn't have the rhythm circuit, that it wasn't routed for it. Because I probably would have done I might have done something with it if it was routed for a rhythm circuit. But the fact that they just left it solid wood, they're just idiots. They are. Fender are just idiots. I don't know what they're doing with that guitar. That guitar and the Mustang, man. The Ventera 2 Mustang, I think is very cool. But outside of that, I just don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. The Performer was a major miss, and they've never made an American vintage Mustang, and they've given up on the American vintage Jaguars. So, beats me. But I also don't want to spend all my time thinking about like products that aren't made or ranting about it, because what am I going to do about it? At the end of the day, I have no control over it, and really neither do you. So you can either play what you have, buy an old one, or just move on. I got plenty of other guitars I can play. Okay. I've been getting home from work much later on Thursdays past while. Often catch the end of your streams though. No, I appreciate it, Steve. I know you've been a busy boy too. It's tough trying to navigate all this, isn't it? Between work, I don't think you have kids. Work, kids, wife, dog, house, everything breaking all the time. Your body breaking all the time. So when you do spend time doing stuff related to music and you have the opportunity, you might as well make it something you enjoy. Thanks for the answer. I respect it. No worries, man. If you had to buy a Jaguar currently, which one would I pick? I'd build my own. I'm deadly serious. I'd build my own. Out of everything available new, I'd spend the money and I'd build my own. I would go to. It depends what you like. Depends how much you care about the finish, right? If you don't care about having a nitro finish guitar, I'd go to Warmouth and just have them with the body. I think they'll do the offset vibrato cutout. But if they don't, there are plenty of people that do. Like Guitar Mill. I ordered a guitar body from Guitar Mill. Funny story about that. It's going to tie in well with what we were just talking about and the guitar and a thumbnail. But very different because I'm custom building one myself, or so I thought. I ordered a guitar blank body. Well, not blank, but unfinished. And I received a Fiesta Red Telecaster body. Now, clearly that was wrong. But they do offer, they're awesome. They're going to take care of it. We're going to get the right one. But they offer Jaguar bodies. You can see how much they weigh, which is another big plus for me. And a lot of people play Jags because a lot of Fender Jags, they teeter towards 9 pounds, the American ones. So what you can do then is you can get one and then pick literally any finish you want in the whole world and what degree of relicking or no relicking you want on it, and they'll do it for you. You just sit on your hands and you wait. That's it. Or if you don't want to wait, they have a whole section of buy it now with pre-finished colors. And those guys are legit. Like, there are some people that do bodies where they do an okay job, but I'll give you this just for personal kind of parameter here of whether or not I would trust somebody and the quality of their work that specifically does painting. If they won't offer you no relicking on it, I want nothing to do with them, because it means they don't have enough confidence in their work to do a perfect job. It means that they're going to be they're doing so many bodies that they know they're going to make errors, and they're just not going to take the time to fix it. Now, it's one thing if they offer it as an upcharge, then cool. It means they'll still do it. It means they still have the faith in their capabilities to do it. Anyone that will not offer, like just straight up says, no, I will not do new old stock, the plague for me. Because if you're like a professional painter, you should be able to paint something perfectly. I'm sorry. That's kind of like the bare minimum. And I know the relic fad has made it so, you can get away with imperfections, but no. No, if I want imperfections, I'll just go buy an old used guitar. And then necks, you have a lot of options. You guys want to see a neck? Hold on. See, this is me again. I could have very easily filmed an unboxing of this. Would have taken me 10 minutes. Why? Why? I'll show it to you on the stream. This came yesterday. Interesting story behind this one. Right? Now. Short scale neck. It's got the bound body. It's got block inlays, right? Now, the place I got this from was the one we looked at last week, called Falcon Guitars, and the guy's name was Aladdin. I got a laugh out of that for one reason or another. I just, I have a kid, so we watch those movies all the time. So I actually pictured it as Aladdin sending this to me, and it would kind of add up because they claim that they made this in Sweden. I have no evidence that they didn't, like hard evidence, but I also saw this neck on eBay, like the same exact looking neck. And I'll be honest with you, every other country in Europe, and if you look at parts that you're going to find in general from people that specifically make parts, they're gonna have like a company stamp on it, and most of the time they'll say where it's made, and they'll say it with pride. Like if you buy a Japanese neck, it says made in Japan on it. You go buy an all parts neck, it's gonna say made in Japan on it. So the fact that this thing is completely bare of any sort of markings, it's not a terrible feeling neck. It's actually got a much better feel, the satin feel. This is a natural roasted kind of thing going on here. This feels infinitely better than the classic vibe. So it's already an upgrade in that sense. But fretwork is passable. It's not the most beautiful in the whole world. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick this up, but like the binding, there's so much bleed all over this. You kind of get what you pay for. But at the end of the day, I think that I could turn this into a decent neck with some work. Don't ever pay full price for this too. Another pro tip. Offer him like half of what he's asking. He'll probably take it. So yeah. But really, if I was picking a guitar neck, I'd go to Warmouth, I'd go to Music Craft, I'd go to All Parts, or I just think Guitar Mill's really expensive because what I wanted was like $800 there. But yeah, fun stuff there. There you go. You finally pulled the Milkman. Congratulations, Milkman make really good stuff. I like if I was gonna go like that style, like not pure analog tube, right? Or Val for you in the UK and Europe. The Milkman would probably be my choice. Because I really just, it's a good clean tone. It's a really good clean tone. So congratulations, I hope you love it. Jim, have you ever considered buying a Chinese Fender knockoff from eBay? No, I have not. We were talking about those on the stream last week when we were actually looking specifically at guitar necks. And they're shameless. They're shameless. They literally say Fender on them. They're like $40 new. No. I can't do that. Like this one, there's nothing on this guitar. There's no labels, no branding, no made in here. That's a Chinese guitar neck. If I had to bet the farm on it, that's a Chinese guitar neck. They did not make that in Sweden. Yeah, I just can't get behind the blatant counterfeits. Can't do it. I'm never giving them my money. That just encourages them to make more of them. I'm obsessed with McGee, and he's using a Jaguar tune to B. Yeah, he's playing a Jaguar tune to B. He's got some huge strings on that thing. Because you would struggle to keep that thing in tune if you didn't. I think the lowest I ever went on a Jaguar was reliably staying in tune with tens was C sharp. And that was kind of pushing it a little bit. but it worked for the most part as long as I didn't like really hammer on the vibrato. And yes, I actually played in C sharp before, several times. I hate relicking. I won't buy relic guitar. If no option exists with normal paint job, it's no go for me. I mean, it's just like, it just says to me a lot about how you feel about your own quality of work as a builder. Like you got to be able to offer like a perfectly done paint job. Especially because here's the other thing about that. Like a lot of these people that do this stuff, they're not actually cutting the bodies themselves. They're ordering the bodies. So they're already skipping that whole part of the work. They're just doing the finishing. If you're just doing the finishing, not like Warmoth, they're doing it all. And Guitar Mill, they're doing it all. Some of these other places, they're just doing finishing, and you won't offer a perfect paint job when you have a perfect thing to start out with. You're not getting a dime from me. And I just, me personally, if you guys want to, that's cool. I won't tell you guys what to do. But for me, no. From here, that looks like a quality neck to me. It's honestly, Steve, I like it. I liked it immediately, both in the feel and the look, than the classic Vibe neck. The classic Vibe neck feels like when they were in the factory, they took 50 different passes with the finish on the back of it. That's the main reason I hate that neck. And I even went through that with some Scotch Brite, the green Scotch Brite, and trying to take some of it off. Like I was literally watching it peel off. If you ever worked with a finish before, it almost like flakes to an extent. Like if there's like a ton of it, and it was flaking and it was going nowhere. Like I would have had to have been at that for a long time, and I was just like, screw this. I'm like, I hate the Laurel anyway, so what do I care? I'll try one of these Swedish necks. And regardless if this is made in China or made in Sweden, it does look a lot better. And honestly, it feels better. And the shape is actually nice. If you're curious about these necks, I give a lot of credit to the shape too. Because it's about 0.86. I measured at the first fret, 0.97 at the 12th fret. So it's got a decent taper on it without being like a really full neck. So it's got kind of the oval thing going on. I dig it. It'll be something we work on. And that's something fun. How to drill the holes into the neck without destroying the wood or cracking or splintering. Fret leveling on a guitar with binding. This is going to need a fret level. That's a tough job. Because it's very time consuming. But it can be done. Hey, Jim, what do you think about Nash guitars? Would you get one? I think you should. I think I said a lot about Nash guitars without saying a lot about Nash guitars just now. I will say, if I was ever going to get a Nash guitar, it most certainly wouldn't be an offset. It would probably be, what does he call that model? His Blackguard style Telly. The ones that a maple neck, maple fretboard. It would be one of those if I was going to do it. Because those necks, because his whole thing is relicking and wear. I like it on the maple way more than I like it on rosewood. Because on the maple, like the fretboard feels different. Like it doesn't have that like fresh coat of lacquer on the fingerboard. And that's the difference if you don't know this. Like if you buy an American vintage guitar from Fender, it's going to have lacquer on the fretboard if it's a maple neck version of it, whereas rosewood, they don't do that. They don't spray it with the same thing on both sides. The only lacquer finish that's going to go on a rosewood fretboard is on the back of the neck itself compared to the front of the neck on a maple one. But when it comes to like once people start aging things and doing things like that, maple necks that are really broken in, but broken in either naturally over the years or broken in well, they have their own kind of unique vibe that I kind of dig. But they're just like, it's just not for me. Like the whole style of relicking is just not for me. It's got to be like really, really, really tastefully almost not there. Like one or two things here or there. And they let you know in advance, like this is light or closet classic. And if I could see it first, then I'm all for it at that point. But yeah, the Nash stuff, To me, they're parts casters with a lot of specs I wouldn't personally pick. That's all. Just a little too much aging. I know lots of people that love them. They're just not for me. Okay, do you recommend buying a baritone or trying that out with a short scale? Just try it with the short scale. Don't buy. If you have a short scale, just try it with the short scale. Don't buy anything you don't need. Because you might buy something and then, within a month, like you first get it, you're excited, you're messing with it, and then it just ends up living on a stand. And if you started with an entry level one or a cheaper one, you're gonna eat it. You're just gonna lose money, and that's not cool. So try to experiment with ways to make what you have work. Here's another suggestion for that. If you have a computer, which you do because you're talking on here, there are several different plugins that you can get that will detune your guitar for you, so you don't have to do any of that. One thing I really like about the Nano Cortex, yes, I've had a Nano Cortex basically since the launch. I've never made a video about it. But that has that feature on it where you can detune it. The feel is very different because obviously the string tension and the string sizes are different. And obviously the scale is different too. But you can take a part that you play in one key and then just transpose it down. So if you're going for like a sound, and that's all you care about is your sound, there's a lot of much more affordable ways of not having to buy a new guitar that you can accomplish those sounds. And that would be the route that I would take. That way you're not committing to just having another thing. That's just my opinion. Unless you play a baritone guitar that you absolutely love in person and you want to buy it. In that case, knock yourself out. Okay. The only reason I entertain the idea of Chinese vendors finding an affordable left-handed Mustang is nearly impossible. They don't exist. And you know who you can thank for that, right? Now, one thing I find really funny, the PRS community gets a lot of crap, rightfully so. They're regarded as very snobby. Some of them. Some of them are lovely. The majority of the people in any community are lovely people, but it only takes a few people to give an entire community a bad rap. Okay? Do you know who I feel are far worse? Far worse is the offset community. Far worse than the PRS community. The thing is, there's a billion PRS guitars. All right? There ain't a billion offsets. So the ones that we do have are few and far in between. And it used to be, before this whole cosplaying as Kurt Cobain became a real serious thing. And that really, it's so weird to me because I saw so many people playing offset guitars in the late 90s and the early 2000s, at bars and stuff like that were just offset guitars that were stock. Do you know why they were playing them though? I'm serious. Do you know why? It's because that's what they could afford. That's what they could afford, and they made it work. And then surf bands would play them because of the vibrato. And then all of a sudden, something changed where I'm not sure why, but copying Kurt Cobain to the T, there was always a small group of people that did it. It just became the thing you did to do. And so the people that actually suffered the most from this are the left-handed players because that guy's just so happened to play that way, right? Or whatever. The problem is there are so few left-handed Fender Mustangs. When you do find one, it's either going to be exorbitantly priced or it's going to be destroyed, modded to hell to the point of no return. I feel bad for you. What I would do is reach out to Musicraft. They're very affordable, and one of the reasons I'm recommending you Musicraft specifically, they have the most amount of neck sizes available. They have so many different shapes compared to the other places. They certainly have more than Warmouth, and they certainly have more than Guitar Mill. Go to Music Craft's website. It's music with a K. And check out their stuff. They'll make you a lefty neck. That's what I would do. And then for a body, maybe that's a little bit different. See whatever you can find. But yeah, no, Japanese Mustangs, you used to be able to buy a left-handed one for $400 or $500. And they actually were cheaper than right-handed Mustangs. And then what happened was people on Reverb figured out, oh, these are rare. I can buy it and sell it for 5 times as much. And unfortunately, people started spending 5 times as much. And now you have a new market standard. And now it is what it is. And when they pop up in Japan, they sell within 5 minutes. Sucks. It's stupid. I don't like it. Anyway. Tiger, I think Guitar Mill will do it. Harley Benton's cheap guitar, great necks. Cheap guitars, I do like the necks on those. They're just weird, man. Because, part of the reason the Harley Benton is so cheap is part of the thing that sucks about them. Because, yeah, the guitars are really affordable. But if you want to recommend a guitar to somebody, the odds of that guitar selling out before they can buy it, unless you're right there and you're following these guitars and you get what you want when it's available, dude, you could wait a year for the next shipment in the color that you want. Or they just might not make it again. And that sucks. But that's because they don't actually build anything. They're just contracting other factories, and they move from factory to factory to factory, from China to Taiwan to Indonesia. So they don't get the same sheer volume of production. But by having lower production like that and keeping the cost down by just going to whoever's going to be the best deal value for the brand to make money on, so they could sell it, it's very unfortunate. And you can look at it anytime they release a new guitar. When it sells out, you ain't getting one. It's because they have to work out a whole new deal to get them done. Or they have to wait, and there's time involved because there's not a priority. Harley Benton don't have their own people building them. If they did, we wouldn't have this problem. But also, if they did, they'd be at least twice as expensive. So it's a give and a take with Harley Benton. You've been looking at a standard Guitar Vacation. You said, oh, no, never mind. Been looking at a Japanese standard BH, standard 24, any opinions, knowledge. And is shipping going to be $? No, shipping will cost you. I would go to Kurosawa Gaki. This is going to be one of the only gear purchasing questions I'm going to acknowledge here. I had to give some love to the left-handed Mustang guy. That guy's just going through it. I understand his struggle. But with the Schecter, Kurosawa Gaki, they have multiple different stores. You can pick whatever Schecter you want. They got tons of those models in them. They're really cool. I always thought it was strange with those that on the bottom of the body, you have my cert right here. Typically, you get one strap. So on the Schecters, you get the two to pick from. I always thought that was weird. But, yeah, shipping from Kurosawa to the United States will be DHL, unless you request FedEx, but it won't cost you more than $180, $200. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much because those guitars are cheap. If you're patient, if a used one of those pops up, you will make out like a bandit. Hold on 1 second, though. I know the guy just sprayed the lawn with chemicals. Is that you? Okay. I freaked out. I thought my kid just took my dog outside. And they literally just did the pest control. And I was going to be like, no, you can't do that. But, yeah, no. Kurosawa Gaki, they're the place to go. And if you find one used from them, you can cut that price right in half. And they pop up from time to time. They're really cool. They also get custom orders. Another place that you can check out that has custom orders for Schecter Japan is Shimamura Music. There you go. Next, I've been taking more enough of your time. Thanks for answering. Check out that plugin. Yeah, no, I mean, don't worry about it. That kind of stuff with gear, I'll happily talk about because it's an issue. And it gets me back to like the main complaint I had earlier in the video or the stream where I'm talking about Fender. It's like, yeah, that pisses me off because they don't respect people that are left-handed. They don't respect people that play offset guitars. Like, unless it's a Jazzmaster. You want a Jazzmaster, you got whatever you want. But if you play a different one, it's just like, well, sorry. Go pay triple what they were new, used on reverb. And with God knows what mod's done to them. Oh, sad. Very sad. But I don't mind. Could you sell 20 or 50 Audimo Jag styles with approximate 65 routing, pickups, and hardware at sub 2K price? I don't know. You tell me. I couldn't sell 200 albums that I spent thousands of dollars on with 12,000 subscribers for $5 with promoting it and posting on YouTube. My album doesn't even have 1,000 views. You think I'm going to invest the money to build guitars? You nuts? I get what you're trying to say. It's just like, I just don't have faith in it. I don't have faith in it. And here's the other thing about that. If I was to do that, the amount of money it would cost for me to even get started, I got to order 20 bodies. Okay? That alone, oh man, even if I buy in bulk, be generous. Because I wouldn't order crap bodies. I just wouldn't. Because then it wouldn't justify the price. Say at not wholesale, because I'd only be ordering 20, but at a discount, say they were $200 a piece, unfinished. Then I got to invest in the paint. Now, each time you paint the guitar, you got to seal it, you got to color paint it, and you got to go through 3 or 4 cans of clear. You got to go through all that sandpaper all the long time as well. Then you got to buy the hardware. You got to have a drill press. You got to be able to perfectly level frets. You got to be able to perfectly file a nut. I could do all the electronics. I could do all that, all the other stuff. How long it would take me and how much would I actually profit from even selling them at under $2,000? I don't think much. I don't think it would be worth it. And I think it would be too much of a commitment. Plus, I cannot even be sure that anyone would buy them. Maybe I'd sell 2. And then what do? I sit with 18 offset Jaguar guitars. I like that you're thinking out of the box, but reality and costs, once you start breaking this stuff down, gets really expensive really quick. And I'm not a big enough YouTube channel to do any of this stuff. I'm just not. Because where I'm at right now, like I there's no way I could depend on that kind of support. And I wouldn't expect you guys to. Because then if I did it and then I got mad because nobody bought it, I mean, not only am I then out money, but then I'm like mad that people didn't buy something I built when they had the choice whether they want to build, like buy it or not. Like that's stupid. So just avoid it, to me. Let's see. I think a PRS uses highly flamed woods and birds so people wouldn't confuse them with Schecters. Where did that come from? Marketing is super powerful and created these associations with brands and guitar shapes and an idea of guitar quality, types of personality. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. And that's one of the things that I'll say. One last thing about Fender Mustangs, because this really, really, really angers me with the Mustang more than any other guitar. The amount of vintage Mustangs that I've seen destroyed because some idiot went in, and I'm not talking about some guy who paid to professionally have it routed. That's still wrong. I don't like that on a vintage guitar no matter what. But some guy like hacksawed the body on a vintage Mustang. There's a lot of these out there. If you look at some of the listings where they take the pick guard off and they have a humbucker in them, oh, it's ugly because nobody wanted to pay to do anything. So they could fit a humbucker in it. So they could look like Kurt Cobain or sound like Kurt Cobain when they're idiots. Because you don't even need to do that. Like, you don't need to put a humbucker in to get that sort of sound. Like, it's not like some, oh my God, this is like the tone of tones. It's a freaking generic too much gain sound. You can get that out of the stock pickups. They can do it. You just ruined the guitar to cosplay. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stupid. I agree with you. I recently got a monoprice Strat copy. Thick basswood body, nice pickups, great neck, rosewood. Needs a new bridge, machine heads, string trees, great cheap guitar that you got used. I mean, one of the cool things about those sorts of guitars, I support all that stuff so long as it's not a straight up counterfeit. Once you get into counterfeit territory, I'm very negative towards it. I'm very negative towards it because I can't do it. I think it's just so wrong and shady and crappy of these companies to do that. Just put your own name on it. But when they're IV or IYV, Harley Benton, Jet, Monoprice, stuff like that, they're great guitars to learn how to work on a guitar with. You can say the same thing about even a Squire Classic Vibe. I think that there's a lot of value in that stuff, and you can not feel so bad if you make a mistake. Because nobody wants to make a mistake on a really expensive instrument, especially when you're learning to do something and it's something that can't easily be fixed. Miswiring a pickup, even if you blow the pot, at the worst case, that's, $5 or $6 to order a new pot. You screw up frets, not that easy to fix. So no, congratulations. Would love to find left-handed Edwards Les Pauls. Left-handed Edwards Les Pauls, those are harder to find. You might be better off. I'm trying to think of, because I see other Japanese left-handed Les Pauls from time to time. You might be better off looking for an older Greco. I just saw 2 of those in left-handed. But other than that, no, it's the same crapshoot, man. It's the same crapshoot. They just didn't make many of them. Hey, Save Brav. Thank you very much for $5. You picked up a Katana Artist. What should I consider in getting a second cab for setting up stereo? A 2x12, one with a greenback. You can either do 2 greenbacks, or with a Katana Artist, you can cover a lot of bases if you do one with a greenback and one with a creamback. If you lean towards more higher gain, or you want to play a little bit of higher gain, greenback and V30. But I would go 2x12 either way, because that gives you a lot of flexibility. And at the end of the day, you could always change speaker cables to individually use either of those in mono if you wanted to, in its own different application. It's another really cool thing about 2x12s just in general. That's the route I would go. And those are good speakers. You want to stick with Alnico if you're using an amp like that. But congratulations and thank you. What do you think of the all rosewood necks? You have an American Pro 1 Telecaster. Notice the pickups are brighter on the Pro 2. They're different pickups. I know the pickups changed. But the all rosewood necks, I think they look great. I don't know. In some ways, like my traditionalist kind of things have altered a lot. Like the guitar I'm building, it's a guitar that I don't think has ever been sold by like a high-end company, like the design of it. But it looks like an old Fender that's just been modded. And I'm looking at the neck and specking the neck, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do 7 1/4. What I want, and I'm pissed because they won't do it. We got it again. We got another guest appearance. I want this exact neck with these frets, with this shape, with a 24-inch scale. That's all I want. If they could make this exact neck with the finish on it, the neck shape, the fret size, stainless steel, compound, 9-12 radius, I'd buy 3. I'd buy 3. That neck is outrageous. It's totally kind of converted me on modern necks. And I played a lot of modern necks before. Played some of the Ultras. Played some other Japanese brands that have compound radiuses, but that one. It's like the perfect mix. Like in your hands, it feels like a vintage Fender, but when you're playing it, it's absolute butter. God, that sir is so good. I wasn't suggesting you build them. I was asking if there was a market for 2050 J-style guitars built by an existing builder as just another guitar in their line. The only people I think that they could get that from would be Black Bobbin, because people will spend copious amounts of money from anything Black Bobbin make. People spend like over $1,000 on Black Bobbin modified, like $200 Squires. So maybe they could do it, but I don't think they will do it, because at NAMM, Black Bobbin bought a Jaguar style guitar, but it was a 25.5-inch scale length. So it wasn't a Jaguar at all. The companies don't want to mess with the Jag, and they don't want to mess with the Mustang. They don't want to do it. That is really sad when it comes to vintage Mustangs, especially that there are other options as a hot rail, which will get you higher. Dude, here's the other thing too. Forget even looking at it that deep. People immediately run and they say, it's my pickups. Do you know what it more than likely is? Your amp. It's your amp. How do I know this? Because I'm an idiot. When I was younger, that Music Man amp that's behind me, when I was telling you guys I used to go to the Lord Car, I used to listen to a lot of that third wave ska, because I knew that would make me a better guitar player, and it helped form my style, and it built my right hand. But I also listened to a lot of punk rock that had a lot of gain on it. I tried every pedal and every set of pickups in that freaking JV Strat. That thing has been Frankenstein. I've went through everything, and I was trying to make it sound like something that amp just wasn't built to do. It's the amp. And the funny thing is, for example, the orange amp that's in the thumbnail of today's video, and also another example of this, the Friedman Pink Taco that I used to have. When you play through those two amps, you could be using vintage single coil pickups. It's gonna sound freaking monstrous. Monstrous. You're gonna be like, what are these people talking about? Like, this is incredible. These handle gain great. Yeah, it's a different flavor of it, but they handle gain so well. You just EQ it a little bit. Totally usable. So long as the connections are solid on the guitar itself, I don't see, for high gain especially, I'm not rushing out to change any pickups. Just not doing it. How's the cold today? It's pretty good. I think I've made it about halfway. Yeah, that means I need to take a drink. Love it. Can't you get Dream 24 guitar made custom for the price of the Sir? But it won't be made by Sir. What does it matter if it's made by Sir? Because I want that exact neck. I want that exact profile. That exact neck profile. That's what I want. If I could have an offset guitar, but that neck, that would be fantastic. That'd be fantastic. But I am building my own. I am building a Dream offset guitar. It's going to take months. Because it's not going to be instant gratification for you guys. And no, we're not using the neck that I showed you earlier in today's video on that. We're going in a different direction. This is going to be something where we go over how to do this fretwork and how to install it onto a Jaguar style instrument. Because I know I'm not alone with people who really dislike the Squire necks for one reason or another. But I will say, if the reason you dislike the Squire neck is because of the logo on the headstock, I don't think that's a valid reason to change the neck. Only change that if you don't like the feel of it or the shape of it. And to me, that one feels way better. Squire neck's a baby neck. Very thin neck. And it's glossed to hell. Not a fan. Is it worth refretting a crafted in Japan Jaguar or just getting a replacement neck with stainless steel? Know any affordable company that refrets? Where are you located, Mike? Where are you located? And personally, if you already love the guitar, just refret it. That's the way I would go about it. Unless you didn't love the neck profile, there's no reason to just buy another neck. Because the thing is, if you don't like a neck because it's too thin, you're screwed because you can't add anything to it. If you don't like a neck because it's too thick, you could always bring it into a luthier and have it reshaped. Now, knowing that you have a crafted in a Japan Jaguar, I know that the latter is not going to be the case here. The odds are it's going to be on the slimmer side of things. But the point is, if you have a neck that you don't like the feel of, but it has enough thickness to it where it could be reshaped, you could do that. But otherwise, if you like the neck, don't change the neck. Just pay to get it refitted. Rochester, New York. You got to be kidding me. Okay. Oh man, I did training in Rochester, New York, many years ago. I had to spend 2 weeks there. I know that in Syracuse, there's a place that has a good tech that works there. I don't know if they offer refrets, but I know they have like they have a very good tech. Hold on a second. I just want to see if he is first. Before I recommend this, I want to make sure he's still there. And I want to make sure that they offer this. Okay, repair. No, it's a good thing I didn't say that. They're not currently offering repairs, so I'm not even going to say who it was. So that won't be something I would offer. Who will do a finish is Parkway Music will. From Rochester, you got a little bit of a ways to go. You hop on I-90. Because what's Syracuse? 2.5 hours? And then Buffalo's almost 4. Because that'll take you to I-87, where the 90 meets the 87. And then once you get on I-87, about 15 minutes north is where Parkway is. And Parkway will do a hell of a job. They'll refret your guitar for you. And you can harass them on my behalf. My old bass player is the manager there. So you can pick their brains. And you can see how big of a degenerate I was and how nobody liked me. Outside of that, I thought that there was somebody that had a plec in Buffalo. Let me just double check. Buffalo, New York. Plec finder, hold on. Oh my god, be quiet. Buffalo, New York. Okay, it says Long and McQuaid. Yeah, no, there's not. The plec you're gonna have to go to Toronto, to Ontario for that. Otherwise, you're gonna go to oh my god, Massachusetts. That's a hell of a drive. Yeah, no, I am right. So Rochester's going to be a bit more of a longer drive to Albany. It's not as bad as Buffalo. But that's probably your best bet. If you want it done, you want it done in person. I'd go there. Sorry, you guys. I got derailed there. My small remembrance of that area kind of kicked in. Yeah, yeah. Burlington, Vermont. Burlington. Vermont was an interesting place. When I was a kid, I used to like going to Vermont. I haven't been there in probably 2 decades. Not since I was a teenager, yeah. That's really funny. I'm with you on wanting a certain neck on other guitars. I want my 58 335 neck on everything. It just kind of sucks. I'm looking for guitars now. Yeah, no. And that's a great neck. That's a great neck. I'm a big fan of those. What's your favorite guitar that I own? I'm glad that you asked what my favorite one is and not the best one, because those are different. I'll grab it. You're gonna surprise none of you. This right here. My telly. Same age as me. Played many a telly in my day. From many a manufacturer. From many a country. It's old Japan vintage. From when Fender Japan first started. I've never felt a Japanese Fender neck like this. I've never felt an American Fender neck like this outside of one legitimate vintage 60s Fender neck that I played, where I felt like this is a dead ringer for that neck. Now, that guitar would have cost me, I think at the time, like $23,000. But this has the perfect 60s oval on it. But most importantly, like, I get so happy playing this guitar. This is my favorite guitar. Don't tell my wife, though. If she asks, I said the Jazzmaster. My favorite guitar? What's the best guitar you own? I'll save that for a different day. They need a Plek machine that contours the back of the neck to a specified profile. That's an interesting idea. Could they do that in theory? See, I don't know enough about that. I'm not an engineer. I don't pretend to be. I just play one on YouTube. If they could do that, that'd be cool. But I just like it. And if I'm gonna order a custom neck, I'll order it on the bigger side. That way, I have room to work with if I want to shape it afterwards. If you go conservative, and you and no, I'm not talking about politics, but if you go conservative and you're like, I don't want anything too big, it's not going to be comfortable for me, and you get it a slimmer neck, and you don't love it, you don't got anywhere to go, except even slimmer. And odds are, if you're not happy with the neck that's already slim, making it slimmer is probably not going to be what you want. Have you tried any aftermarket Jaguar or Jazzmaster? I've tried all of them except for the Tough set. I don't know. I personally think my two favorite ones are just the vintage bridge, because the reason I like the vintage bridge so much is because it retains the character of the guitars that the way I like them to sound for the most part. Modern bridges don't do that. And my second favorite is the Stay Trem. He's no longer making bridges. So you're going to have to pay $5 billion for one of those used. Mastery's pretty cool. If I was doing a completely new build that was going to have no Fender parts on it, I would use the Mastery stuff. I just told you what hardware I'm using. So I like it. But there's a lot of budget brands where the problem I have with them isn't necessarily the materials are bad. It's that they don't know what they're talking about. And this is what I said. It sounds harsh. When I say they don't know what they're talking about is they claim that the string spacing is a certain way, and it just never is. Or the radius is a certain way, and it just doesn't match. You get what you pay for a lot with that stuff. So for me, the ones that I like, and the Halon's pretty good. I don't love the look of it. And outside of that, you can't buy the Fender Custom Shop one. But I think that one looks strange as well. My favorite aftermarket one as a whole is the Stay Trem. That's just me. Which is truer to the original, so that's interesting. Yep, the Stay Trem, I mean. Well, no, the Stay Trem is truer to the original because, I mean, it's based off a Mustang bridge. But they didn't come with Mustang bridges. Mustangs did, but Jags and Jazzmasters didn't. Those came with the threaded bridges. So those are the sounds like that I associate with them. But what if I told you I wasn't necessarily building a Jaguar or a Mustang? Strange, isn't it? All of a sudden I don't have to do things in a certain way. And if I'm using no Fender parts, nothing on the guitar is going to say Fender. Who else am I going to pick from? I already got the mastery stuff here. I'm not going to spend any money on that. I already have it. It came included with another guitar that had the Fender hardware as part of the purchase. Fantastic. Fantastic. That's how you got to do things. Be clever. I'll get to see the tough sets at the UK Guitar Show. But you don't play Jazzmasters. You want a 9.5-inch radius on everything. And stainless steel frets, right? You've got the Decadence bridge. Before he went to an adjustable radius. It's a great alternative to the Mastery. Yeah, the only experience I have with that brand is their vibrato. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. It's on the Ventera 2 Mustang. Those came with a 55mm bridge stock, and that's ridiculous. Yeah, well, that's not surprising. It sucks because Fender can't get it right. So when you're going to spend money to go buy a bridge, you would expect the people that are selling you a replacement bridge for your bridge that isn't correct to get the thing wrong right, and they don't. They claim they will, but they don't. You get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. Don't cheap out on a bridge. Now, I'm not saying you have to spend $200 on a Mastery one, but don't buy some $10 to $30 crapper thing that claims it's something, and then when you get it, you have like no return policy, or you got to ship it to some middle of nowhere place in Asia. It's not worth it. You're just stuck with it at that point. Spend a little bit extra, and if you're really that unconfident, not confident, you could always get the updated Mar bridge that has the correct string spacing for a 9.5-inch radius, or the American Professional 2 bridge is just fine too. And those aren't that expensive either. The bedside bridge looks interesting and is affordable. No. I'll be honest. There's something aesthetically, they did do it for me. I know it's not the end of the world, but I'm building a guitar right now, and I didn't look past the Mastery stuff because I already have it here, and I don't want to use a single Fender part on this build. I'm going out of my way to not use anything made by Fender because I don't want anyone to mistake it for a Fender, because it's not a Fender. The body's from Guitar Mill. The routing is not normal. The vibrato, obviously, and the bridge are going to be made by Mastery. I'm using Goto for tuners. You'll never be able to find a Fender offset neck with the specs that I want, because I just told you what I'm looking for here. And then the pickups, that's the place that I'm not sure where I'm going to get them from. That I'm not sure about. There are a few brands I'm interested in. And I'm not sure I'm going to go with Lawlers this time. I might go with the Lindy Fralins. Favor the clean tones a little bit more, because in my opinion, I feel like Fralin are a little bit better at capturing the vintage clean tones, whereas the Lawlers, they really excel for a more modern or better with gain sound. Personally, that's how I feel about it. But with bridges, no, and I don't know, it's one of those things where I felt like I had played enough to know what I liked, so I just stopped. If I find a solution for something, the Bensonite bridge may well be great. So may the Decadent, and so may the Tough Set. But I have no incentive to purchase one because I don't have an offset guitar that I need a bridge for. So why spend money I don't have to just for a YouTube video? And that's not, it's not me saying anything bad to you. It's just, that's just the reality of things. And I'm like that with some guitars too. It's like, well, why would I buy that? I don't want it, or I have something that I already like. And that's where things are changing. But for today, it is 1 o'clock, and my kid's not she's not good at listening. She's just really bad at listening. I just told her before I started, please wait to go outside because the guy literally just sprayed pesticides and I hear her outside. So I have to go outside now. I mean, she's not going to any real danger because she's not going to be licking the grass. But at the same time, I don't want her out in it. So I'm going to get going. Thank you all. And I will see you on a video either tomorrow or I'll see you a video on Saturday. One or the other. Depends when people get back to me. But I appreciate this. This was a fun talk. Yeah, a little bit different. But cool. If you have any comments or suggestions for next week's talk, let me know. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye.